A sold-out Fenway Fest here, the second annual Fenway Fest at Fenway Park. Sam Kennedy, President and CEO, joins me now. Started in Connecticut, then you had it in Western Mass, now here at Fenway for the second year. Sold out. We were just down there to the introduction of the players. The crowd was electric. What's it mean to you to see this kind of excitement built off last year?
There's no market like Boston for baseball. It's extraordinary. Here we are in relatively early January, and we've got a packed MGM Fenway Music Hall, great fans ready to go. So we're very humbled. We never take their support for granted.
Always fun to hear the reaction from the crowd as I introduce the players. It's like, however many years we've done this, going back to Connecticut, Jason Varitek still gets the loudest ovation every year. I think Jason Varitek got the loudest ovation again this year.
For good reason. I wouldn't want to not cheer as loud as I possibly could for Tech. That'd be a dangerous move.
But I love the play. Like, Carlos Narvaez got a huge ovation, and I was sitting there watching it, and I'm thinking, like, that's a Boston reaction. Like, not every town would understand the value Carlos Narvaez had in his first season with the Red Sox, but these fans get it.
They get it. I mean, Narvi was a guy who stepped up, took care of his teammates all year long. He played hurt. That's the other thing. I mean, people realize he was playing on one knee for a long, long time. Boston fans respect that. And you're absolutely right. Our fans understand the nuances, the little things. They see everything. They know everything. There are no secrets in Red Sox Nation. Our fans are connected to this team. We've got a great young group. Obviously, we didn't get to sort of the ultimate goal last year, but we got back to October, and I think it's really something to build on from here.
Now, Carlos is from Venezuela, and I was thinking about that when all that happened with Venezuela, is that, even in the time you've been here, you've seen natural disasters in homelands. You've seen, disasters in states where people. How do you sort of take us through what happens when something happens in a native? You got to find the player, make sure they're okay, family safe. Like, how do you go through that process?
Well, all of us just reached out right away to Wilyer and Narvi and Wilson Contreras just to make sure they were safe. And it's incredible. I mean, I was on an airplane when the invasion happened, and just immediately was able to send a WhatsApp, and you hear back from someone in Venezuela immediately. It's obviously why Wilyer is not able to be here today. He's still there, but they're safe. Their families are safe, and it just causes you to go to a place where you realize, this is so much more than a sport, a game, or a business. The organization is a family. Raquel, Eddie, Brez, AC had already been in touch. The guys were surprised, that we were all reaching out, but thankfully everybody right now is safe, and we'll get them to Fort Myers soon.
You've had 3 months to put last season in perspective. Making the playoffs was a big step forward. Obviously, disappointing ending in New York. As you've had a little time to digest what last year meant, how do you look at 2025?
Just a reminder of how important it is that we have to play baseball in October. Being at Yankee Stadium, Game 2 still hurts. That was a game I think we all know we could have won, we should have had. And who knows? We get past the Yankees in that series. You just don't know what happens. So it's also a reminder that we have to have good health. I just sort of think about what the 2025 Red Sox could have been. You're going to have injuries, but to lose Roman Anthony when we lost him was just so gutting, and so anyway, it's a little bit of a season of rebound, but also one of disappointment, because I think we could have gone further than we did. But it's exciting to have those types of expectations back, and we'll see where we can go in 2026.
As we sit here today, you are the only major league team that has not signed a major league free agent.
I wasn't aware of that.
Maybe then you really have been away.
I haven't heard that.
But a couple of things. We talked at the winter meetings a little bit about this. Baseball, of all the major sports now, the free agent offseason slows to a crawl. Last year, you signed Alex Bregman literally on the eve of spring training. It was February at Fort Myers. Can anything be done to kind of spark more energy, to create more excitement? We see other sports have free agent frenzy. Those of us love hockey. Those first 48 hours in hockey, the signings are happening. It doesn't happen in baseball. How do you change that?
Well, a couple things. Let's go back to your comment, obviously tongue-in-cheek, about being the only team to not sign a free agent yet. First of all, the offseason isn't over. Second of all, there's more than one way to build a roster, right? You have free agent dollars at your disposal. You also have trade opportunities in the offseason. If you look at what we've done since the offseason, I actually think we've added more salary to our player payroll than any other team in baseball via trade. $40 million of salary plus for Wilson Contreras and Sonny Gray. I know that's not a great soundbite. I know people want to focus on you haven't added a free agency, you hadn't had a free agent, and that is true, but there's more than one way to skin the cat. So I do think it's a bit of a lazy narrative to say, free agency, trades, drafts, scouting, player development in terms of how you get into the postseason. However, your point about the timing and the importance of igniting a fan base really resonate with me. And the commissioner has come out and he's talked about the idea of a signing deadline. It's not our place to comment and talk publicly about things that would change the system. However, I will say human beings respond to deadlines. And I do think the commissioner's points were well made around timing, having certainty, interest in the sport, interest in the game, frenzy, as you point out, that takes place when you have a defined period. But that's a conversation, collaboration with the players that has to happen. We've got all of our players here this weekend. We've got their wives and spouses, and one of the comments is that they want to know where they're going to be. They want to know when and where they're going to show up at spring training. So it is definitely worth the conversation to have as we get into this next round of collective bargaining with the Players Association. Which
you're going into now. This is the final year of the CBA. Nobody wants a work stoppage in 2027. What's your optimism level as you go into this final season of the deal that a deal can get done?
Look, we have no ability to talk publicly about collective bargaining. That is against the rules. So we will not do that. I'll just point to Commissioner Manfred's track record of success in collective bargaining over many, many decades. Players Association's record of success over many, many decades of keeping the game going. All major sports have suffered work stoppages. They're very damaging. So, of course, everyone at the club level, the players, the front offices, are very hopeful and optimistic that the Commissioner's Office and the Players Association will engage and get to a great outcome that is a win-win. In any bargain, you want to have both sides emerging either totally happy or totally unhappy, so you know it was a fair
as long as they're on the same level.
Yeah, that's right.
I want to ask you, finally, I do this every year. I do it here. I do it again on opening day. I probably do it mid-season as well. We had a hype video downstairs before we introduced the 2026 team, right? Everybody got all fired up. I want you to give us your hype oration. Why should Red Sox fans believe 2026 is going to be a step forward from what you built in 2025?
It's funny. In 1985, I had a chance to meet Peter Gammons, and I think as a 12-year-old kid, I asked him the same thing. Hey, why should I be fired up for the 1986 Boston Red Sox? Look, it's pretty obvious. We have an unbelievable group of young, exciting, dynamic players who now have postseason experience. You marry that with a starting rotation anchored by Garrett Crochet and now Sonny Gray. I think our rotation is largely set. I think we have a lockdown bullpen. You saw that last year. Young, dynamic players. You always want more. We're working towards more. But this is a team that went to the postseason, and now we're trying to take that next step forward. So there's a lot of excitement. You alluded to it, and we're appreciative of that excitement and the best fans in all of baseball.
And guaranteed walk-off wins on Friday nights again.
There you go.
A great marketing
Wear those greens. Wear those greens.
Good stuff, Sam. Great to see you.
Thanks, DC.
All right, Sam Kennedy, President and CEO, joining us as we get rolling here. It is Fenway Fest 2026.